Well, it's been a month and a half since episode 102, but I'm back. Three Things with JR is still a thing. Thank you for coming back, for listening. And I'm gonna jump right into the things. Three things this week will be thing one, past; thing two, present; thing three, the future. Let's jump right into thing one. What has gone on since the last episode? August 8th. That's when the last episode went out. What has happened since then? I'm gonna breeze through this real quick because there's been a few things that happened. The last episode happened the week before Kinky Boots was out. So yeah, it was right around then. And the first three performances of Kinky Boots happened, and they were awesome. We were down one performer, Colton, who was one of our angels. And then in the third performance on that Sunday of the first weekend, we lost Kirk, who played George, our shop foreman in Kinky Boots. So we had to improvise, and we did okay. And then the next week, we were getting ready to go back in and rehearse and do our final three performances when, boom, COVID happened to the cast of Kinky Boots. Our Charlie got COVID. Several others got COVID. So many principal players got COVID, we had to postpone a week. And then I figured maybe I'll test myself and see if I've got COVID. Sure enough, I had COVID. Now, I had the weakest case of COVID ever, a few sniffles and a little bit of achy weakness. But other than that, I was fine, recovered quickly. Kinky Boots came back 1 week late with the last three performances with the full cast. Colton was back, Kirk was back, everybody was there, and by God, those were the best three Kinky Boots performances of our run, and that was a life-changing experience for me, made new friends, had a lot of fun, and holy crap, it was amazing. Right around that third weekend, right around those last performances of Kinky Boots, my dog Scherzer had some funky stuff going on. It was like on Monday the week before, he wasn't putting any weight on his right back leg, and then on Wednesday it was his entire hind end. It was like Scherzer was paralyzed. Took him to the vet, had to figure out what was going on. I was about to put him into boarding while I did Kinky Boots, and then while I had a trip to LA planned. How is that going to happen with my dog who seems to be paralyzed? But must have just been a pulled muscle. Gave him some drugs, took him to the vet, and everything was fine. We were able to board him while we went to LA, which we did the very next day after Kinky Boots wrapped. We flew to LA. We met up with Kiki's parents and her brother and his girlfriend, and we did a whole bunch of fun stuff. Here's a list of all the stuff we did in LA, in California. So we went to Sony Picture Studios, saw the Breaking Bad Winnebago and the Pontiac Aztek. Went to the house we stayed in was an Airbnb, literally right below the Hollywood sign. I played disc golf on the first ever permanently installed disc golf course. We checked out Rodeo Drive, couldn't afford anything there. We walked around Hollywood Boulevard. We went to In-N-Out Burger. We ate dinner and hung out in Paradise Cove over in Malibu, where the Beach Boys hung out quite a bit. Kiki's mom dressed up in her wedding dress, and we got pictures of her in Malibu and underneath the Hollywood sign. It was her and her husband Rick's 50th anniversary. They were celebrating, and it was a little strange with her walking around all over the place with her original wedding dress on, but it was fun. We just leaned into it and had a good time. Kiki's brother is quite the connoisseur of cannabis, let me just tell you. We went to Randy's Donuts over there by the airport. Kiki and I went to the San Diego Zoo and had a great time. Then the next day we went kayaking in La Jolla. And then we came back and saw Moulin Rouge at the Pantages Theater in Hollywood, right there on Hollywood Boulevard. Then our planes home, our first one was a little bit late, so we had to run through the airport in Charlotte, North Carolina to catch our connection back to Charlottesville, but we made it. Got home, everything is fine. Had a few days to relax, and then we went to see Wicked in Richmond at the Altria Theater. That was a significantly better show than I thought it was going to be. It was amazing. That week was just sort of a normal week. And then my dad arrived on Saturday, And he and Allison and I had a wonderful time on Sunday, just hanging out, eating dinner. Aaliyah was awesome. We uploaded a TikTok video. It's the first TikTok video I've ever uploaded, but there you go. It mainly features Aaliyah saying, "What are you doing?" And she's adorable. The next day, Dad, Kiki, and I hopped on a train and went to New York City, where we met up with my mom and my sister, who flew up from Florida. We stayed at a hotel right in Times Square. It was amazing. We ate dinner at a humongous barbecue place. Most places in New York seemed cramped for space, because they're trying to pack 8 million people in a tiny little place. But this barbecue joint right off of Times Square was humongous. I don't have any idea how they can afford that kind of real estate and not fill it nuts to butts with tables. But the food was awesome and the place was great. We went and saw Phantom of the Opera, which we then found out is going to come to a close. The longest running show in Broadway history is going to come to a close in January. So we saw one of the last performances of Phantom of the Opera, and it was awesome, way better than I expected. The next day, we went on a boat tour all the way around Manhattan. We walked on the High Line. We hung out in the Chelsea Market. We did a lot of walking. Then that night, we went up to Top of the Rock at Rockefeller Center. We ate pizza right near Rockefeller Center. It was wonderful. Pizza in New York doesn't get much better than that. The next day, we went biking in Central Park. We rented some mountain bikes and just rode all around Central Park for 3 or 4 hours. It was awesome. That night, we went and saw The Music Man, starring Hugh Jackman and Sutton Foster. The highlight of the trip, for sure. I mean, it was the reason we went to New York, and it did not disappoint. Hugh Jackman was amazing. Sutton Foster made him laugh in the middle of his lines, and it was just endearing and amazing. The music was crazy good. My dad was literally cheering as if he was at a football game and they just scored a touchdown. So cool. After The Music Man, we went to eat at the Stardust Diner, where the waiters and waitresses sing songs in between taking your order and bringing you your food. We went and got Krispy Kreme donuts. Our train home got canceled because of the railroad workers' strike that didn't happen, but Amtrak canceled the train anyway. So I caught a lift with Aubrey and my mom over to LaGuardia Airport, got a rental car, drove it all the way back through New York City to pick up my dad and Kiki at Bryant Park. They hung out, had a great time in the beautiful weather. Driving around New York was awesome, and then we drove home, and it all cost about the same as our canceled train tickets. Then the next day, Dad and Kiki and the dogs and I all went and had dinner on the downtown mall. And then Dad's flight home got delayed in leaving. He was going to leave out of Charlottesville, going to connect from Charlottesville to Dulles, Dulles to Denver, Denver to Des Moines. Yeah, that's a crazy set of connections. And the first one wasn't going to get him to Dulles in time to make his trip to Denver. So I drove him to Dulles, and we had a great time. Such a nice weekend. When I came back, I rented a storage unit and started moving all of my shit out of my house into a storage unit. More on that in a minute. Sunday, we had band rehearsal. Haven't had band rehearsal in months. I've been too busy with Kinky Boots. The band has sort of taken a break. We recorded 2 songs in the studio and never did anything as far as playing, rehearsing, practicing, nothing. So it was kind of cool to get back in to Gary's home rehearsal space with Gary and Brian, play some songs, and we realized we do know how to play these songs. We didn't forget them in the meantime. Then Monday night, I did open mic comedy for the first time in a year, and I realized I still know how to do that. I was told I looked more comfortable and better than ever. Tuesday night, went to choir practice. We're back. The Crozet Community Chorus is back. It was back in the spring. Kiki joined up, but I couldn't do it because I was busy performing in Something Rotten. I'm not performing in any kind of musical this fall, so yeah, Crozet Community Chorus, we're back. And then on Wednesday, we went and saw Hamilton at the Kennedy Center. Allison, Kiki, and me. That was crazy cool. Love seeing Hamilton. It was my 3rd time. It was Allison's first time, and it was awesome. Thursday night, I went over to the Wayne Theater in Waynesboro to rehearse for a performance this weekend at the Queen City Mischief and Magic Festival. You know, it's basically a Harry Potter party in Stanton, and the folks over there at the Wayne were putting together something called a Hogwarts Faculty Music Review. Bunch of the Wayne Theater performers had some songs they were going to sing in the characters of people that are in the faculty at Hogwarts. And my role in that whole thing was to be Hagrid and to MC the event. This is kind of my specialty, MC type of thing. So I dressed up as Hagrid on Sunday, but Thursday night was the rehearsal for that. So that was Thursday. Played disc golf Friday night. Salvation Army gig on Saturday. The band had our first gig in a long time. The first full-on gig where we have to set up our own PA system and play music. And it was awesome. It was an amphitheater in the middle of a park in Waynesboro. And we played an hour or so. Another band, the Blind Peaches, they played. I set up the PA. We set up the PA. And it was just kind of nice to get back in the swing of doing that. Hadn't done that in a while. Then I quickly ran over to Stanton, parked my truck at Shannon Arts, hopped on my bike, dressed as Hagrid, and rode downtown to the Queen City Mischief and Magic Festival, where I emceed as Hagrid. Yes, people looked at me funny, not weird, not in any kind of negative way. People loved seeing Hagrid riding a bike all through Stanton. Somebody yelled, "Go, Hagrid, go," which was great. Which all brings us to today, to right now. Today, Sunday, September 25th, I spent the morning sleeping. I slept till 12:30 this afternoon, and it was wonderful. First time I've been able to sleep in a long time. I did some more moved some stuff out of my house into a storage unit, and now I'm here talking to you. Let's take a quick commercial break. I'll come back and tell you about thing number 2, the present. See you in a minute.
Nothing I can say. Change your mind and stay. So I'll see you later today.
All right, we're back. The whirlwind of the last month and a half has come to a close, and life is sort of getting back to normal, and I'm pretty well ready for that. Now, the problem with that is that it's not going to stay that way for long, because basically any free time I have, I need to move stuff out of the house in which I'm living and into a storage unit. Why? Because when I say Kiki's horse business is going to have to move from its current location, and we rent a house on the farm where her horse business is. And there's no reason to rent a house where her horse business isn't. So since she has to have the horses kind of out by November, December, we need to also be out of this house around the same time. So things feel a little normal because we're back and life is not so hectic right now, but it won't last long because we need to be out of here in the next few months. And so I have already begun the process of moving all the extra stuff in the garage and the basement and all of that, putting that in storage. And, in the near future, I'll be moving all of our everyday stuff from this house into storage. Now, you might be wondering, why storage? Why not into, another house? So here's the deal. We don't know where we need to live yet. Kiki's still figuring out where the horse business is going to move to. We've got a contender as far as a farm goes, but nothing is set in stone. No deal has been signed. Nothing. We still don't know. So once that happens, we'll know where the horse business is going. But where do we live? Now, Kiki has multiple barns full of horses, and at the other barn, not the one where she's got to move out of, but at the other barn, she has a house, and sometimes we stay in that house. And that's been her house since way before I met her. And it just so happens that I'll be able to just move into that house. Now, I cannot move any of my stuff into that house. I can bring basically the bare essentials, the clothes that I need, the toiletries, and that's kind of it. It is a fully furnished house with no room for another fully furnished house. So all the stuff in this house needs to go to storage, and I'll be living with Kiki at the Midway Farm for the foreseeable future. Now, once the horse business, Dapper Ridge, has settled into its new location, and we know how long that's going to last, right? Is she going to lease a farm, buy a farm? Who knows what's going to happen with that? But once we know what the long-term situation is for the horse business, we'll know where we need to live, because it probably needs to be close by. Near the horses would be ideal as far as a place to live for Kiki. And since I live with Kiki, that means for me too. So everything's going into storage, and I'll be living without all my stuff, without my home theater system, without my office, without all that stuff. But it's okay, because Kiki's house is awesome. She's got a TV. It's going to need some help sound-wise, but I'll just have to deal with it. But I'm also going to save a lot of money, because the rent is free at this house. So there's all of that. There's so much going on with moving right now that if I don't get a podcast out every week, it's you should know that it's because I'm moving all my shit into storage. What else is going on presently? It's really cool to be back at choir at Crozet Community Chorus. I'm totally digging. We've only been to one practice or one rehearsal so far. They've had 3. We missed the first 2 rehearsals because of the rest of the, remember the thing one, the past, all the stuff I've been doing the past few months. So that caused us to miss the first 2 rehearsals, but that's okay. I think we're going to be able to jump right in nicely to sing some songs and perform them in Crozet in December. So that feels very much like life before the pandemic. Choir practice every Tuesday night, learning these songs and preparing to perform them, and seeing all the people in the choir that I haven't seen in forever. It's pretty cool. The other thing that's kind of getting back to normal is the band. To be fair, the new name of the band, we used to be Big, then we were the band Big, and now we're To Be Fair. Hopefully a name you can search for and find when you go to stream our songs on the internet. And we've got two new songs coming out in the very near future, and gigs. We've got gigs coming up like really soon. We had our first one yesterday, Saturday. And we've got our next gig a week from Tuesday at a nursing home at the Cedars in Charlottesville. This gig's actually been postponed twice, once because of COVID, once because our schedules were too busy. But we are scheduled for a 2 p.m. performance at a nursing home for an hour in Charlottesville. It's called the Cedars. If you want to come and hang out, say hi to the folks that live in the nursing home, and just have a good time listening to a band play music for people that can't get out to listen to music the traditional way. We're doing this because of our partnership with AMP, the Accessible Music Project. And it is a organization that I'm on the board of, and it specializes. Its purpose in life is to bring music to those that can't get out to access live music. And my band is absolutely going to take advantage of that any chance we get to perform for anybody really, but for especially for the folks at the Cedars Nursing Home. So that would be Tuesday, October 4th. Let me just check my calendar, make sure I've got those dates right. Yeah, Tuesday, October 4th, to be fair, at the Cedars Nursing Home in Charlottesville, 2 p.m. Feel free to show up and just hang out. We'll be performing outside in front of the nursing home. Hopefully the weather cooperates. The very following Saturday, October 8th, we will be performing in the Battle of the Bands in Stonefield. This is being put on by Chris Gallagher and his organization, and we did it last year. We came in second place. You might remember we lost to Kings of the Wild Things, a bunch of young bucks who were awesome. We hope to take first this year, but Battle of the Bands at Stonefield right here in Charlottesville, October 8th. More information will be put, maybe I'll put a link or something into the description for this show. And of course, keep an eye on To Be Fair on Facebook and such. We will post up details for these upcoming gigs. And then the following Saturday, October 15th, if you're more of a late night kind of a person, come check us out at Miller's on the downtown mall. The show will start around 10 p.m. at Miller's on Saturday, October 15th. And yes, we're going to pack all of our loud sound into a very small place, and we're going to rock the joint, whether they like like it or not. And it's been successful in the past, so we're pretty excited about that. So you've got several chances to come out and listen, take it all in, come see To Be Fair perform. Now, let's talk about these songs we've recorded. We went into the studio back in, I think it was May. It's been quite a while now. We recorded 2 songs all in one day. We had Gary, Brian, and me doing all the music, and then we went in and did all the vocals, and then we had the Fairettes. My daughter and Gary's daughter, Allison and Adrian, are the Fairettes. Get it? Fairettes. Anyway, they provided some background vocals that are just absolutely beautiful. And we've got 2 songs. They are almost complete. They've been fully edited and fully mixed. The only thing that has yet to happen to them is to fully master them. But you know what? I would love to play a snippet of these songs for you now, because I have a copy of the mixed version, the final mixes. All that's left, again, is to be mastered. So I'm not going to play you the whole song, because this is not how it will fully sound once it's all done. Those will be available via your favorite streaming platform. Maybe someday we'll put them on a CD. Who knows? But for now, you get to hear a little bit of 2 different songs. First up, Transparent. This is a song that Gary wrote at the request of his daughter Izzy, and it is absolutely perfect for the time in which we live. It is a song that I think we in the band, us, can certainly get behind the meaning of, which is, just you be you. You do your thing. You do what you want to do. You be who you want to be. And don't let others try to convince you to be someone else. That's the point of this song, Transparent. Here's a snippet.
We had full seasons, winter, spring, summer, fall. We all search for good reason, and truly we need you all. You be you, be you, be you. Take up all the chances and tell your truth. You be you, be you, be you. Don't be afraid, just do what you do. You can show the world the right thing to do. You be you.
There you go. That's Transparent. More of that song will be available in the near future when we release the whole thing. Of course, you'll hear about it first on this podcast, and probably it might even become a theme song. Either that one or this other song. The other song we recorded is called Love Will Find a Way, and it actually received a last-minute edit. We recorded this just within a few days of the Uvalde, Texas school shooting, and there's a nod to that and to people's response to that and things like that. Thoughts and prayers, that kind of stuff in the song. I'll play you a little snippet of that. Because I think you should hear this. It's a pretty powerful song. It's somewhat emotional. We do it as the last song in a set just because it evokes a lot of emotion, especially for Gary. It's very near and dear to his heart, and so it's a tough song to get through, and he always needs a bit of a break afterwards. So we do it as a set ending song. It's a really fun song to sing and to play. So here you go. It's called Love Will Find a Way.
Well, there can be no red or no blue. Only we, not just me, not just you. With 19 more gone, thoughts and prayers just won't do. Follow the light, and love shine through. Follow the light,
go. There are 2 songs. Just some samples for now. The full menu, the full course of songs coming at you soon. We also have People, which we recorded a while back, which will be released under the new band name To Be Fair. To Be Fair. Thing number 3, the future. Now, I've kind of talked about this a bit already, the fact that I have to move out of this house. But there's so much, the future, a big part of my personal future, where will I live, is unknown. And I've got decisions to make, right? First, we have to wait until the horse business thing is figured out. But then we've still got decisions to make, right? Do we try to buy a house? Do we try to rent a house? That's a big decision. I've owned a house. Technically, I'm still the owner of the house that I bought with Angela when I was married many years ago, and I would love to rid myself of that responsibility, even though she pays the mortgage, mostly on time. But that's still sort of, on paper, I still own part of that house. So need to figure that out. And that whole experience has caused me to think, I don't know if I ever want to own another house. I kind of like not owning a house. When stuff breaks in the house, you can kind of like call someone else that owns the house and say, hey, this stuff is breaking and would you fix it, please? And if you have a good landlord in a rental situation, that's pretty nice. So I kind of like that as opposed to being the person who is fully responsible for fixing and keeping a house working. I don't know. There's also it's nice to have the freedom of owning your own place. I know I won't own another house in a place where there's a homeowners association. I don't want to deal with that ever again, if at all possible. So just a piece of land with a house on it, not part of a subdivision or anything like that. I know that's something I want, but need to need to think about and figure that out. If I were to build a house, what would be my dream house? Location first, right? It's got to be located near the things that are important, right? Can't be too far from my work. Needs to be near the horses. I would like to not be all that far from Charlottesville. So somewhere closer to town than where I live now would be ideal. But we've got to figure out location first. But as far as the house goes, what would my dream house look like? And I know what it basically needs to be my dream house. It needs to be one level. I am totally fine with there not being an upstairs and there not being a basement or downstairs. I'm not necessarily opposed to there being a basement, but boy, I just spent today a couple hours carrying stuff up from the basement, and that was less than fun. And I don't really want to have to do that. If I could design a house, it would have 0 stairs, which means the house needs to be maybe at the crest of a hill on a piece of land so that it's not going to flood or anything, right? Sometimes stairs and door thresholds are there to keep potential water from going into the house from a flood or lots of rain, that sort of a thing. So we could fix that as long as the house is elevated naturally in the land just a little bit. Then it would just have a nice, gentle walkway from the driveway into the house. No stairs, no steps, nothing at all like that. I want everything on one level, no stairs. And I want the house to be spread out nice and wide. I want it to be possible for me to be at one end of the house watching a movie, listening to music, playing music on my drums, and for somebody at the other end of the house to be able to get a lovely night's sleep while I make a lot of noise. And separating them from other ends of the house, it seems like a great way to do that. That would be cool. I would like there to be, room for a bedroom and a music office room for me, for Kiki to have all the room she needs, and of course for us to have a nice room where we can relax and watch movies and stuff. And if there's it would be nice if there is a large attached garage right there, all built into the house. Don't have to go outside to get to it. And not necessarily to park cars in, but to be able to do garage stuff. We have a detached garage now, and it's very nice to be able to put the motorcycle out there, a workshop out there, to keep stuff that I need to put in and out of my truck, like the band's PA system, things like that. So I do want it to have a nice, large garage. And as far as a yard goes, I want it to be relatively flat as well. I want to be able to, do stuff in the yard. I've had a yard that was very much the opposite of flat, steep hills. Not fun at all. No fun to mow. It's hard to just play games or do fun stuff in the yard. I would like to be able to, play, throw discs around at baskets. I would like to have, if I want to go out and play catch with Allison, with my granddaughter Aaliyah, with anybody. I mean, just a nice yard that I can, without too much trouble, keep the grass mowed and keep it looking nice. Doesn't have to be a huge yard. I'm not looking for a ton of land, but anyway, that's kind of what I'm looking for in a house. One level, no stairs, spread out nice and wide, with a little bit of a yard. That would be great. Now, I've said many times that I could easily see myself living in a place like New York City. Being in New York is one of it's a happy place for me, just being there. Like when we arrive in New York and we get off the train, or if I drive to New York or ride a bus to New York, which I've done all of those things, when you get out of your car or the train station or the bus and I'm in New York, it's like I just love it. I love the feeling. I love most of the smells. I just love being in New York. The hustle, the bustle, the people, the cars, the noises, the action. I love it. Central Park especially is like my happy place. So could I live in New York? I've watched videos of people that live in tiny apartments in New York, and that would be a completely different lifestyle than what I have grown accustomed to. For one, there would probably be stairs involved. 2, no garage. 3, probably got to keep the noise down because there's people everywhere. And so all the stuff I just told you would be very important to me in a house would have to go out the window if I were to try to ever live in a place like in New York City. But could I do that? Could I go from, having a house full of stuff versus living a more minimalist lifestyle and trying to make a go of something in New York City? What would I even do? How could I support myself in New York City? I don't even know. It's all just a thought at this point, but that whole thing would be something that would be awesome. I would love to be able to say, at some point in my life, that I was successfully able to live in New York. It's not an easy thing to do. It's not an easy thing. You got to have a lot of money, even if you live in a tiny little apartment. But gosh, you got to rid yourself of all the things you don't need. And boy, I don't know. I think I would like that. I think I would like living in New York, assuming I had a job that made sense to live in New York doing, right? Performing in some way, working in show business in some sort of way. There's so many things I could see myself doing, but I don't know. It's a pipe dream. I'm just talking about the unknown of the future and all of the possibilities, and the fact that I don't know where I'm going to live in a year just makes me think, wow, there's a ton of possibilities out there. I could go any number of directions. The most likely direction is a house near a farm with Kiki that we both enjoy living in. And that's going to be a tall order, but I think that is the main goal, and that's what we're looking to do. Now, a lot of people would be pretty worried about their situation. If you were in a situation like what I'm in, worrying about this, it's just not something I do. I'm not worried about it. We have a place to move to now. I have the money to put all my stuff in storage, and storage is easily accessible, so I can get to my stuff whenever I need it. And we've got a place to move to. So what's to worry about? Nothing at all. Life is pretty great. Even when I'm being sort of kicked out of my house, even that's not a big deal. So things are going to work out. It'll probably be better than before. So that's where I'm at. That's an update from me. It's been too long, and I really, really look forward to more regularly updating you on my life, having some special guests on this show. I've made some new friends. I'm hoping to have Vince from Kinky Boots, who I mentioned him in the last episode. He is now a regular listener. He just, since I met him just a few months ago, has listened to all 102 episodes of this show and is asking me for more. So I couldn't go another day without recording another episode of Three Things with JR. I'm glad you're back. I'm glad I'm back. I look forward to doing more of these shows again, and I really can't wait to reveal these entire new, to be fair, songs. And, you know, if you have a thought on which one of those two songs you think should be the new theme song for Three Things with JR, hit me up. Comment on Facebook, send me a note here on Anchor, however you listen, find me. Communicate with me in some way, shape, or form. Direct messages on Facebook works. Find me some way. Let me know which of those two songs you think that sounds like a good theme song for Three Things with JR. I'm JR. I'm back. But for now, I'm over and out. See you next time.
Everybody say, people who love